everyone, and welcome to the third and final Prodigy Search Selection Show before Prodigy Week in just 18 days' time. If you're joining us for the very first time, well, the Prodigy Racing League is the product of Racing Prodigy, an initiative to bring the E2Real pipeline to more drivers that deserve opportunities in the sim racing world. It spanned across multiple different simulators, iRacing, Race Room, R-Factor 2, as well as the currently ongoing tournament on SK Kart Racing. It's about bringing these opportunities across of the sim racing spectrum. What is this opportunity? Well, let's see what Prodigy Week is all about.
What should you expect at Prodigy Week? Well, as a Prodigy Pass recipient, lots of seat time. We're going to put you on a skid pad, autocross course, kart track, on a sim using SimLab, Grid, and Asetek Sim Sports equipment. But most of your seat time will be in the Radical SR1 race car on the main track at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Now, you'll have a pro coach review onboard video and data. You'll work with PitFit Training, who trains IndyCar and NASCAR drivers. You'll work with Dr. Nick Molinaro, who helps pro athletes perform under pressure. You'll be interviewed, but don't worry, you'll get media training by DKC, and we're going to live stream it all on Racing Prodigy's YouTube channel with behind-the-scenes look into how it all goes down. We're going to open it all up, share setup information, data, and more, because we're here to provide access and opportunity.
That, of course, is all about Prodigy Week 1. October 30th through November 2nd, the drivers head to the Atlanta Motorsports Park, are brought into a Radical SR1, and are challenged to prove themselves. We'll have more Prodigy Racing League tournaments, hopefully, over the rest of 2023, moving into 2024. The goal being a second Prodigy Week, and ultimately a Prodigy draft leading to the very first real-world Prodigy Racing World Series. To do this, though, it is not just about the drivers that show their skills by winning tournaments. We want to make sure the opportunities are presented to everyone. Out of the tournament, it starts all with time attack qualifiers, and the top 500 in each of those tournaments are invited to submit a video resume to our search selection committee. From there, they are whittled down, and using a world-class selection of judges, one a real-world driver and then one a sim racing influencer, we pick our Prodigy Pass winners. Today, the final two Prodigy Pass winners will be selected, coming from 4 different tournaments, from Race Room, R-Factor 2, iRacing, and SK Racing. And we've got a world-class panel of judges to talk about all of that. Let's introduce them as well as we continue to watch some of the action from what we've seen over the last couple of months. Let's start by introducing Racing Hall of Famer Bobby Labonte, one of only a handful of drivers to have won the NASCAR Cup Series as well as the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Off the track, we've seen him on Fox Sports 1 and across many different places. And alongside him, someone that is exemplified the E2Real pipeline, it is Cameron Dass, who started in sim racing on iRacing and Forza, jumped into real racing, the inaugural 2016 Formula 4 United States champion, and most recently the Euro Formula champion in 2021. Guys, delighted to have you join us for this third and final search selection committee before Prodigy Week. Bobby, let's start with you. You've seen, of course, so much of racing, especially in the oval world. We've just had our first Prodigy Racing League oval tournament. What are you looking for in the candidates here today?
Yeah, I mean, well, I can say right off that I'm very glad to be here, glad to be part of this panel, and it is very hard. I feel a little bit like Simon Cowell. I'm like, when I agreed to do this, I'm like, it sounds like a lot of fun. And then all of a sudden it's like, this is so difficult because there's so many great racers out there. And for me, I just, try to take my experience that I've had over my career and try to look at it from a perspective of sim racing, which I've done a lot of, and also real world racing, and try to figure out how to blend all those together and know that it's more than just one thing. You got to have the whole package. And again, I'm just glad to be able to be here and to be a part of this, and really excited and looking forward to it. And it was very hard to narrow this selection down, as I know Cameron and I spoke about it. And it takes a whole package, and sim racing is a huge part of it, and definitely more than ever.
And Cam, let's come over to you. You're sitting in a car outside a rather soaky Nürburgring, getting ready to go driving around in the real world. Talk to us about what you look for, especially as someone that, like I said, has been on this E2Real pipeline, and I think most significantly has seen what a lack of funding can do to some opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'll echo a little bit what Bobby said there. Really thankful to be a part of this. I think this is such an important mission that Racing Prodigy's on, and really, really thankful to be a part of it and to be trusted with such an important decision. It really was quite difficult to come up with the final names because there's so many people on this list that deserve it. So, first of all, thank you. When it comes to actually selecting someone, it's hard to actually come up with a set number of criteria. I try to do it very mathematically and calculated. But sometimes it just takes a little combination of a bunch of little things, and you point at that person and you're like, they have it, whatever it is. So really difficult, but that's what I'm looking for.
Before we break into the top 20 as well, the first selection that you guys whittled down, I want to ask you as well, Bobby, from your perspective, sim racing's a rather new phenomenon. What do you see from the new crop of racers that are coming up, and what are you going to be expecting from some of them when they jump into a car maybe for the first time at Prodigy Week?
Yeah, for a quick brief about me, is I've been on a sim for many years, so I realized how years ago that was not available, and you just had to go by the seat of your pants in racing. And when that became available, I mean, I know technology and everything with this, and from the sim to the real seat, there is a difference, but I see these young kids that I'm either racing against or I get to watch, and they're so much more advanced. So obviously, I know that how real this is and how real sim racing is today, and it has advanced so many people. As when I started off, I kind of was a late bloomer, and now it starts off at a really young age. Sim has done so much for that. What I see and what I've seen, and talking to the guys at iRacing, and just because I know them and have known them for years. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's just it's incredible what I don't know what the next stage is, but the limits in transitioning to a real car is just definitely a lot easier today, and challenges still, but I think that it helps these young men and women out there advance a lot faster with probably less money.
And I guess, Cameron, you can speak a little bit more to that. Talk to us about the very first time you jumped into that Formula 4 car in the Formula 4 United States Championship. What was that feeling like with all of that sim background coming into play?
It was still terrifying, I'm not going to lie. I had all the techniques, I guess, in my head from doing the sim racing, but there's always just that little extra bit that you need. Really, it comes from confidence more than anything when you get in the real car. So I think these sim racers, they probably have just about all the technique that they need to be successful in the real car, but it's still going to be a little bit of a hurdle when they get to Prodigy Week. So excited to see how they deal with that.
Let's introduce you then to the top 20 for the third and final Prodigy Cert Selection show before Prodigy Week in just 18 days' time. We'll run through them in alphabetical order. We don't want you to be thinking that there's any sort of favoritism going on right now. And so let's introduce the first driver. William Augustine out of our R-Factor 2 tournament in the Radical SR3 at the Atlanta Motorsports Park. Races Spec Miata in Champ Car and SCCA. We'll see what the future holds in Racing Prodigy for William Augustine. As well, Ross Banfield, who has been a semi-finalist and finalist on a number of occasions, had health issues stop him from pursuing racing while he was a kid, but with those now firmly put aside, wants to focus on that potential out of Colorado. The 20-year-old Samuel Burnett, qualified in our Race Room tournament, has over 9,400 laps completed on iRacing alone, has moved to Texas in the pursuit of karting success. Matt Caruana from Reading in the United Kingdom has no experience in the real life outside of a track day. That was also his first time driving a real car, but we've seen the 17-year-old be very quick across of all the sims in Racing Prodigy events. The third time that we've seen Kamto Chukwuera in the Prodigy Cert Selection Committee. He's been sim racing since 2017, has started to take his first steps into indoor and outdoor karting, and he continues to show his improvement in our Prodigy Racing League tournaments. Simon Demori's recently moved to Germany for university, but has ran in 3 consecutive finals of Prodigy Racing League tournaments, has also jumped into the Chevrolet Cruise Cup class of the Feister Racing Tourenwagen Championship in Germany, and wants to continue pursuing his dream. Jan van der Heide, qualified in our R-Factor 2 tournament, and we've seen him across 3 different finals, raced at the Virtual Le Mans Series, worked at Manthey Racing with no real-life background, just with his sim racing experience. The 27-year-old has been a force to be reckoned with. Nina Hahn is a mechanical engineering graduate, worked on a Formula SAE team, drove the car in 2019, and very much showed her speed in the trucks in the eastern region, the 26-year-old from Germany. Jack Harrison, the 21-year-old, has been one of the most active people across of Racing Prodigy social media, won a 3-day Skip Barber Racing School experience on iRacing in the Skip Barber Formula iRacing series, and also competed in the FIA Rally Stars America for a JRWC seat. Camden Hibbett just recently finished in our Chevy Silverado Cup tournament here on the Prodigy Racing League and has been racing since the age of 5 with 2 USAC Midwest Thunder Regional Championships and recently jumped into the very competitive Spec Miata Series. Nicholas Johnson is a professional saxophone player, if you could believe it, but with a military family, moved around a lot, didn't get many chances to try karting, wants to pursue that dream now at the age of 31. The only driver in the top 20 from this search selection committee from the SK Kart tournaments. It's Chase Judkins from Los Angeles, California, has been doing lots of rental karting and excelling with less than 2 years of sim racing experience. Tom Katsadonis will have woken up early again from Australia. It is the 3rd time we've seen him in a selection committee. Last time he finished runner-up, and on the very same day found out a penalty that he incurred on track in the Prodigy Racing League took him out of the running to win the Prodigy Pass on track. Wants that final opportunity to make it to Prodigy Week. Julian Klaffenbach qualified on pole position in his semi-final for the R Factor 2 tournament, but internet issues struck and he didn't get to race, didn't get to show his speed, and the 14-year-old with no experience in real life wants the chance to make the trip over to Atlanta. Gary Lin, the only driver from Asia in this search selection top 20. The first sim racing competition he competed in, he was 9th of 3,000 in Taiwan back in 2020. The next year showed enough improvement to go and win it all and has continued to climb up since then. Alessandro Ottaviani, the race room driver, considers not winning the Prodigy Pass at Race Room's 4th tournament here in the PRL a failure. Has never had the chance to compete in real life, but believes sim racing has made him stronger, wants that chance to finally show what he's like in a real car. Jaden Rayner has been through it all in our Prodigy Racing League truck experience, but started iRacing at the age of 9 under his parents' account when technically he shouldn't have been allowed, and wants to be the best across all disciplines of racing, has been competing across a various NASCAR weekly series on that pursuit. Michael Romanidis, the former F1 esports driver, now competes for Coanda Esports, one of the biggest teams in all of sim racing. Earlier this year, got the chance to compete in the Race of Champions alongside some of the best in global motorsports after winning the E-Rock Invitational here in the sim racing world. Antonio Santiago, another musician in our top 20 here, started sim racing only during COVID, and during that same period also released a contemporary piano EP. I wonder if he practices while listening to his own music. Nathan Saxon, the Australian, is in his, I think, 4th different semi-final in the Prodigy Racing League tournament, made the 2022 Mazda MX-5 Cup shootout in the real world, and continues to work as a mechanical engineer to fund and pursue his dream of racing. And so that is a look at the top 20. We have most of the drivers up on screen getting ready to figure out where they all shake up. One driver you'll note missing, Alessandro Ottaviani, unfortunately. And so as we break our way into the top 5, we can say the first driver we can announce in the top 5 is Alessandro Ottaviani.
Hello everyone, I'm Alessandro Ottaviani, and today I'm sending this video because I failed. I failed on the very last step of my tournament. I didn't manage to grab the Prodigy Pass. But sim racing is a world without any barrier, and if you have the good skills and with the right values, you will be successful. You need motivation, because even in the worst moment of your career, you know how to not step down. Determination, because helps you to have and to be the best version of yourself, and passion, because it's the reason that we are doing all of this, and that's why we are here. I want to tell to the world of sim racing a wonderful story with a right ending. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I deserve to be in the Prodigy Week. Thank you, and hope to see you soon.
Cam, I'll come over to you. Alessandro, such a strong competitor across of so many different sims, competes for Veloce Esports. What stood out to you in his submission?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it seemed like he had a good head on his shoulders. He's professional. He's been, very, very quick in several different tournaments. And what really stuck out to me was his interview post Hockenheim, I think it was. I think it was right after the final, and his teammate had won. But he still had this attitude like, hey, like, I'm here to do a job for the team as well. Like, of course, I just missed out on a Prodigy pass, but I'm really glad my teammate got it. And that's something that's really important as you move up the ranks in motorsports, and something not every driver has. So, really respected him for that.
And we talk a lot in sim racing about how the mental side of things is important. Of course, in the real world with the physical strains as well, even more important. Second driver in the top 5 of this final Prodigy selection committee. It's the 14-year-old Julian Klaffenbach.
Hey guys, my name is Julian Klaffenbach. I am from Austria and I'm currently 14 years old. My passion for the motorsport already developed at the age of 4 when I started driving my first sim, F1 2012. With each passing year, I always focused on improving as much as I could, and now I just want to take the next step in my young racing career. I qualified for the Race Room and R-Factor tournament. In the R-Factor tournament, I qualified 3rd in the Hot Lap Challenge and then got pole in my semi-finals, beating guys like Jan von der Heide. Unfortunately, I lost connection for the race and ultimately losing out on the chance to win that real-life racing experience at Atlanta, a lifelong dream of mine. So now I just want to convince the Racing Prodigy committee to give me that extra chance to go to Atlanta. I describe myself as an individual to learn and puts everything on the table he has to offer to achieve his dreams. Thank you. See you soon.
There is the camera of Julian Klaffenbach, who's got a smile on his face, one step closer to a Prodigy pass. Cam, I'll come back over to you because I feel like there's a lot of similarities. I'm sure you recognize that smile of someone that's a step closer to jumping into a real car.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Julian, he does remind me a lot of myself because, I think he's about the same age as when I started getting into sim racing as well. I thought he was really well spoken in his interview, and really, I was watching live when that R-Factor tournament was happening, and I couldn't help. I didn't know anything about him at the time, and nor did I know what equipment he was using either, because I think that's also the first wheel I had when I started out sim racing. And how he was that quick, with that sort of equipment when you've got some, serious competition you're up against was, I thought, really impressive. Clearly, you've got the speed, got a good head on your shoulders, and you have the chance to be a good driver. So we thought you deserved to be in the top 5.
We'll keep the train rolling. Third in this top 5 of the third and final Prodigy selection committee is Camden Hibbett.
Hi. It's been my dream to become a professional race car driver since driving my first quarter midget at 5 years old. To date, my parents, a police officer, and a school counselor have primarily funded my racing. As a requirement from my parents, I've maintained straight A's in school over the last 3 years, and to build my social skills and increase my fitness, I joined my school's tennis team just 2 years ago. Additionally, I've networked at PRI and spent countless hours on outreach to potential sponsors, which has led to support from Buyers Automotive, Rainier Construction, and financial assistance from Mazda Motorsports. To refine my racing skills, I've made time on the sim, recently increasing those efforts for several PRL iRacing tournaments, where I've made the semifinals in each of the competitions I've entered. While I know that the PRL is about skill and not simply the bank account, I also know it's about providing value to brands, work ethic, communication skills, and much, much more. I was born to be a race car driver, and I will continue to put forth the efforts necessary to help bring my dreams to reality. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity to open motorsports to all.
I tell you what, I wasn't that put together at that age. Camden Hibbett looks quite calm and cool and collected right now. Bobby, what stood out to you in his video application?
Yeah, obviously, watching this video and, also looking at, some past history of what Camden's done. And it kind of came to me like, as far as, for me personally, I started off racing quarter midgets just like Camden did. And actually, we own our quarter midget track. We have a lot of kids race at. And so I know that for me, that kind of hits close to home. A lot of kids that come out of quarter midget really have excelled well in the Cup Series today. So for me, and watching what Camden's done, his parents have been there beside him, supporting him. He understands the sponsors. He understands the commitment and what it takes. And oh, by the way, he really hasn't been doing the sim racing that long, but yet has come up to speed really fast. So to have the whole package together, I thought Camden doesn't hit just one little thing. He's kind of touched all of them already at such a young age. And that's very impressive to me. A lot of hard work to keep going, but I feel like from what I can tell by the video and what he's put into it, the effort, the drive he has to keep going forward is pretty high.
And of course, filmed that video in front of his Mazda MX-5 race car. Very, very fortunate to have that backdrop. But our fourth finalist in this Prodigy Search Selection Committee, another one of the Mazda motorsports community, it's Nathan Saxon.
Success in motorsport is dependent on a combination of perseverance, dedication, and a devotion to your craft. Over the past 6 seasons, I've made time outside of my full-time engineering job to coach, network, and secure sponsors in order to compete. For example, this season I've spent more than 50 days at the track, and I've grown my coaching program to include race teams, driving clubs, and individual drivers at the club level of racing. All in an attempt to fund the racing I can, as well as network for my future. This hard work, along with my performances on track, granted me an invite as a finalist to the Mazda MX-5 Cup Shootout just last year, beating out thousands of other Mazda racers. More recently on the simulator, I found time to practice and push myself to make the semifinals of 3 different Racing Prodigy tournaments. My goal has and always will be to build a professional career in motorsports, and achieving that through Racing Prodigy is the perfect avenue to do so. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope to join you later this year at Atlanta Motorsports Park.
See what the reaction is from Nathan Saxon now that he's into the top 5. There's the smile. He's gotten to celebrate at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway victory lane, but I've got to say, there's not many cooler places to be able to celebrate. But Bobby, coming back to you again, what stood out to you from another one of the Mazda Motorsports family?
Yeah, obviously watching the video from Nathan, I personally appreciate his the background and the way he has to juggle all this, all of his businesses, but jobs and stuff that he does, and still have time to do sim racing. But really, I think what stands out to me is that Nathan's. He's dabbled enough in the sim. He understands it, and he's really fast. And I can say from a guy that has raced a lot, I'm not that good as I wish I was. But when you think about Nathan and putting it all together, an engineering school, real life racing, understands again a lot like Camden about how it's all going to be put together. And I think once he gets, if he has the opportunity and gets that chance. To get, to Atlanta Motorsports Park, if that happens, I think that he will excel really well. The thing about him too is that, I think that he's, driven to continue no matter what happens, and you can tell his passion in his voice of racing is what he wants to do.
So that's 4 finalists down, 16 drivers now waiting to find out who that final finalist is. Let's not keep them hanging around. The final finalist in this third and final Prodigy Search Selection show is Jan von der Heide.
Dear Racing Prodigy Committee, if there's one thing I have to think about that sets me apart from all of my great competitors, then I believe that's my determination and commitment to sim racing as a whole. You can probably already see that with me competing in your race room event, getting pretty close in the R Factor 2 event, and I'm also going to be participating tomorrow in your iRacing Oval race. So I guess that really shows my willingness to make this E2 journey work for me. I managed to grab a job at Manthey in the simulator department without any engineering or motorsport knowledge, just purely based on my sim racing past. And as much as that a great achievement in my professional career I could have never dreamed of, the ultimate goal still remains the same. I want to showcase my skills in a real car on a real track. So if you give me that chance at Atlanta Motorsport Park, I can assure you I will grab it with both of my hands. Let's get it.
And we saw Jan very quick in our R-Factor 2 tournament, of course, with the Radical SR3 at the Atlanta Motorsports Park. Slightly more powerful car than they'll be unleashed with during Prodigy Week. But Cameron, coming over to you, what stood out to you about the German, someone that, of course, has competed at the very top level of sim racing at the Virtual Le Mans alongside someone like Jensen Button?
Yeah, I mean, Jan comes across as a true professional in the sim racing space, and I have no doubt that he would translate that to a real-life motorsports career as well. I mean, he's been fast in multiple different tournaments across different titles, which I think is really important if we're going to, evaluate these drivers to be quick in real life, because we don't get the same car every time in real life. We don't have this perfect sim environment where, the car is the same lap after lap after lap. So him showing adaptability in different cars, in different tracks, and in different simulators is really promising. And he's got the attitude to back it up.
And so that is the top 5 finalists here. Let's take a look at them all on screen, with the exception of Alessandro Ottaviano, who does have some internet issues, unfortunately, so I'm sure he'll be trying to follow along as best as he can. Of the 20 drivers, there are 8 different countries represented. The youngest of them, of course, 14 years young, 7 different racing licenses. I counted 6 drivers too young to have driver's licenses in the countries that they reside. They've all shown plenty of potential on their journeys in the Prodigy Racing League. And while the winner grabs the Prodigy Pass, yes, second place will grab an Asetek Sim Sports Forte Formula steering wheel. Second runner-up will grab a SimLab pedal set XP1 load cell with the throttle and brake. And of course, third, courtesy of Grid by SimLab, the Porsche 911 GT3 dashboard display unit. 3 different prizes to go out to those unfortunately not going to join us in 18 days' time at Prodigy Week. They've been waiting long enough, though. They're still hoping that the Prodigy passes are going their way. Let's reveal the first winner in this third and final selection show. Heading to the Atlanta Motorsports Park in 18 days' time to be a part of Prodigy Week is Nathan Saxon. And there's the reaction, there's the smile. Oh, Bobby, what do you think this means to him? We'll let you have a chat with Nathan himself.
Yeah, Nathan, congratulations. I know that by your reaction, you're really excited, and kind of knowing your background a little bit, seeing it, and just seeing your video, and knowing engineering and all that stuff. Going to Atlanta Motorsports Park, getting the chance to drive that car there. I mean, what does this mean to you in comparison to other racing that you have done?
Sorry about that, guys. Like I was trying to say, yeah, this is just such a unique experience, and what Racing Prodigy has been able to do, and what they're trying to do to bridge that financial gap that exists in motorsports is just truly something special. I can't thank them enough, David Cook, everyone involved in that program, and huge thanks to Bobby, Cam, for giving me this opportunity. And I mean, this is such a talented group of other drivers that had this opportunity, so I'm truly grateful. Also got to thank the partners of Racing Prodigy, giving all these other prizes: SimLab, Grid Engineering, Aztec, Sim Sports. All of them helped make this possible, and I'm forever grateful.
Good luck. Congrats.
Thank you guys.
And so that's winner number 1, heading to the Atlanta Motorsports Park to be part of Prodigy Week. Nathan Saxon will drink all of this in. But of course now there are still 4 drivers standing by, recognizing one more Prodigy pass is still on the line. Julian Klaffenbach, Jan van der Heide, Camden Hibbett, Alessandro Ottaviani. All come with very different backgrounds as well. That's the really interesting thing. Julian Klaffenbach, 14 years young. We only really saw his speed in qualifying. Van der Heide, Ottaviani, Hibbett, we've seen a lot more of them in the Prodigy Racing League. One of them will join Nathan Saxon at the Atlanta Motorsports Park, and that driver is Julian Klaffenbach. He doesn't quite believe it. Oh, and he's standing by now with Cameron Das to have a chat.
How do you feel, Julian?
No way. Oh my god. I'm so speechless. No way. Unbelievable. I'm just so grateful to Racing Prodigy and all of the sponsors, SimLab, Grid Engineering, and Aztec Sim Sports to provide this chance to like give us the chance to go to Atlanta. It's just crazy. I'm so much looking forward to driving there in real life, and it's just I'm speechless.
I'm sure you have a little bit of time left to process this whole thing. It's probably going to take a few hours to sink in at least, but I do want to ask you, do you have any goals going into Prodigy Week?
I mean, I just want to try to maximize my speed on track and just get used to driving real life racing cars. Then just try to do like get experience from driving, and yeah.
Well, congratulations. Well deserved.
Yeah, thank you.
Always great to chat with very happy drivers. We love seeing the emotion in sim racing. Too often we don't get to see it. As we wrap things up then for this third and final Prodigy Search Selection Committee show, Bobby and Cameron, I want to come back to you and kind of touch on again. Prodigy Week, two drivers very, very happy about where they're going. And I think, Bobby, two drivers with very different backgrounds as well. It's going to be really cool to see them jumping into the car.
Yeah, obviously one has experience in cars and one of them doesn't, so, but I think, you look at some talent and you can tell and sometimes they just don't come, they're not rehearsed, they're just natural. And so we see that in Julian. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to hear all the results, see it all. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And everybody out there that was part of this selection, I mean, they all have great aspirations and they're keep after that dream, to be a race car driver. So looking forward to seeing more of them as well.
I think, Cameron, for you probably look at those two drivers, you see a lot of your own journey reflected in what they're going to be seeing as well. We've talked about the challenge of jumping into a car for the very first time. Let's talk about some of the other things that make a driver, though, because that's what Prodigy Week is about, not just being behind the wheel. The media training, the mental focus, the physical fitness as well. That's going to be a lot of, I think, interesting challenges for some of the drivers to really dive into.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a monumental challenge for a lot of them, right? I mean, we've got a very physical car to drive, the Radical SR1, and we've got a physical track as well, Atlanta Motorsports Park. So that's one thing. Obviously, I think everyone who's going should hit the gym immediately and try and prepare themselves as much as possible before they get there. Then on the mental and media training side, there's not a lot of professions you could have currently that would really train you for that. So it's one of those things that you just get better day by day. I certainly wasn't an expert at it on day one, but I think having that attitude of every day is a school day, and when you get there, you just soak up everything like a sponge, and you be yourself. It'll put you in the best possible position to succeed.
It's been a lot of fun on this initial journey to Prodigy Week, and let's not forget there's still one more Prodigy Pass being handed out on the iOS app, SK Kart Racing. Signups have already closed for that, but the Time Attack Qualifier finalists are being whittled down to the driver that will join us at Prodigy Week. And of course, all of that action will be live streamed on this Racing Prodigy YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and join us for the journey, not just on social media, but for all the action as well. It's going to be really cool to see how 12 sim racers get on in the real world. For now, it's time to say goodbye. Until Prodigy Week, for Bobby Labonte, for Cameron Dass, alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati, thank you so much for joining us for the third and final Prodigy Search Selection Show. Congratulations to Nathan Saxon, to Julian Klaffenbach, heading to the Atlanta Motorsports Park in 18 days' time.